Hi, and welcome to Drawing Expressions. My name is Aleesha Sattva, and I am not in my garden today. It is really hot here in Thailand. It is supposed to get up to 111 Fahrenheit over the next week every day. So, and yeah, I gave it to you in Fahrenheit. Normally, I do everything in Celsius, but we converted it this morning. So it's supposed to get up to, I believe, 42, 44 Celsius. Yeah, so it's warm. So we're inside instead of outside because the air conditioning is inside, not outside. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we're going to be doing 3 tangles. Hurry, spelt just the way it sounds, hurry up. Ravel, and it's spelt R-A-V-E-L. The last one is Diva Rose. I got my page a little bit started because I'm continuing to work on the page from my last class in this class. So before we get started, let's all just take a moment, take a breath, relax your shoulders, get your bum all comfy in your chair, feet flat on the ground. Nice deep breath in and hold. And exhale. And let's do another. So a nice deep breath in and hold and exhale. Okay. I'm really excited about this class. I've been so excited to teach this class. Like, oh my gosh, I really, really, really love these patterns. So we're going to start off with Ravel, because Ravel's fun. This is a pattern that the creator of Zentangle does all the time. She's a calligraphist, and so this is a regular pattern that she does. And so she recently added it into the palette of Zentangle. So I'm going to turn this page and not the one below. I'm hoping it works better for me. So you start off by placing 2 dots. And I'm using a Micron 10 today, just so that you know. I use a big pen just so that you can see my line a lot better. And then I'm just going to gently go from one dot to the other. And then before I go any further, I'm going to put bands of black in to this center. And now I'm going to aura, but I'm not going to aura like, you know, to make something look like it's really going properly around. Now I'm making sort of like a pod on the outside. And I want it to be as wonky as I can possibly make it, because I don't want it to be all fancy and straight. And those straight lines aren't for me. We all know that. Anybody who knows me knows straight lines are not for me. So now I'm going to put another dot, and I'm going to draw from this dot to this one, which means some of this is going to be behind the bit that I've already drawn. So I'm going to go in behind, and I'm going to add my dark into this center. I really like the way that it looks with this dark. That's why we're doing this, because I really, really like this look. This is very similar to another pattern they have. I don't remember the name of it. I really suck with names, with Tangles, just so you know. It's not my forte. I might recognize the tangle, but not the name. Anyways, I'm going to put another dot here and do another one. So it's very similar to another tangle that is a lot more rigid and less organic feeling than this one. So I'm all about this one. I love this. This is wonderful. So I'm just following my lines around, as you can see, just ever so gently. I'm coming back to this point. And the idea is that you're just building a grouping of them. Now, I'm a big fan of, my page really having that organic feel when I'm done. So when I'm drawing tangles, I'm often thinking about how things happen in nature. Plants don't grow a leaf where you think it would look best. They grow a leaf where they want their leaf. And they do it in the weirdest ways, right? So, there we go. Well, not the weirdest ways, I guess, but, they can, what I'm trying to say is this is entirely possible in nature. That's it. That's all I was really trying to say, is that this is entirely possible. So I'm going to do another one that's down here, because I like those wonky, crazy bits. And they don't have to have a lot showing that goes around them either. They can all be different thicknesses. Then I can go in and I can add a big juicy one here. One of the things I love about Tangles is that it doesn't have to, when you're done, nobody is looking at it going, oh, that doesn't really look like your dog, which is the bane of every artist alive. Really? Yeah, that portrait, it doesn't really look like them. Well, does it look like a person? Then I won. So in Tangles, the expectation is that it doesn't look like anything. And so that is very freeing. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to grab a couple of fescue, take it off the top, give it a little bit more of an organic feel. I do like it when somebody is flying off the top. So that is Ravel. And you can do Ravel as many times as you want over and over on the page. But the whole idea is that you are putting down a dot and another dot. And then you are creating a space by going back and forth, putting your stripes in. Or you can put any design you want or leave it empty. Try different things. Figure out what you like. I like this. So this is my jam. Doesn't have to be yours. And then just keep remembering that the first one you put down is the first and everything else is behind. So now we're going to do hurry. Hurry is all about what is first and what's behind. And so I set down a couple of points just so that we would have a starting point. I started to teach this class outside 2 days ago in the heat. I lasted 10 minutes and it was just too gross to continue. So we're going to instead just teach it in here. We've taken all the cats and locked them upstairs. I have 5 cats for people who don't know. 3 Maine Coons and 2 ragdolls. And the Maine Coons really love having a table right here. Their cat tree is literally right on the other side of this table. 3 of their cat trees. They have a lot of cat trees. And so they were playing in here, so we had to remove them. Anyways, let's talk about hurry. So this tangle is very much like Hollenbaugh when we begin. So we're going to start off and we've got that first line that we're going to do, and then we're going to turn our page and we're going to do a second line that is crossing that. And you can see that I've done that twice on this page already. So we're going to go back to this first line again. And what we want to do is we want to do an aura around this line on each side. And then we're going to turn and we're going to do an aura around each side of this. But you know what we didn't do? We need to add the other spokes. I only put 4 down as a holding place. There's actually supposed to be 8 spokes. So we want to go here and we want to turn. And you know, it's never a problem. One of the beautiful things about this is that if you start drawing something and you're like, oh, that's not how it's supposed to be, then just keep drawing it the way it is or add in extra spokes. So I'm going to continue going around and giving these guys all an aura. So there is no one way to do this. There is your way, which, by the way, is your right way. You do you. We chant that here at DX. You do you, we do we. That's our philosophy. Okay. And I'm turning my page so that it's always most comfortable for me. I can always find that first line because it's the only one that's solid. Now, if you found it hard to find that first line, you could do something like the patterning that we just did in Ravel. You could do that down the center. You could do anything that you want. You could make it solid if you want, and so that it would be very, very much in the forefront and you would see it. Now, the idea of hurry is that this is a pattern off rushing, which is weaving for fabrics for chairs and stuff. And so that's the idea, is that's what you're drawing. And so you can take it as tight as you want. I don't like them fully folded, fully formed in, because they just feel so claustrophobic to me. I like to leave them a bit open. And I specifically want to leave them open today because I'm going to be doing another tangle around and within it. So I'm going to do another one of these just so you can watch again. So I'm going to start with my solid. I've got my solid line and I've got my line across. Now I'm going to add in my other spokes before I start auraing. And these can be as long as I want or as short. I mean, I don't have to make these any specific length, just whatever I feel like doing at the time. Now I'm going to find that first line that is solid, goes all the way across, is not weaving behind anybody, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to weave a piece on each side. And it can go as long as the other ones or not. It can be a solid line, or you can allow your pen to just gently skip over the page a bit and give a little bit of light. You just keep turning and keep adding in that aura line. Rinse and repeat. And once you have all of them equal, if you want them equal, if you don't, then don't do them equal. Let me show you what it would look like not equal. Let's do one not equal. So let's do this line heavier than the rest. So I'm going to do it double. And then I'm going to go down and continue with these other lines. And now I'm going to add 2 more lines on the outside of this one, so that this one has more lines than anybody else. And it's thicker. So do you see how that changed the look of the pattern? It looks quite a bit different than this one. So it just gives it a different look. All the lines, they can be broken, they can be solid, whatever you want them to be. You do you. You do you. Okay, that's hurry. And that's Ravel. Now we got to do Diva. Diva is wonderful. Diva is a real person. I love her tremendously. She's a wonderful person, great mom. She used to do a challenge, and I don't think she does anymore because she has some injuries, but she used to do a weekly challenge called the Diva Challenge, and a lot of CZTs and Tangle people all participated. And so as a huge thank you from Zentangle headquarters, they created a Tangle and named it after her. And so there's a lot of things you can do with Diva, and we're going to do Diva Rose today because Diva Rose is my favorite. And I like the way it's going to fit in with this page. So I'm going to start it. I really like to start Diva Rose in a corner. I'm not going to do that today because I really like to do it. So instead I'm going to start it right here. And so I do a dot in the center. And then as wonky as possible, I go around just a little bit. And I pause, and then I add little shapes, little bulbs into the line that I've drawn. And then I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to follow this shape loosely, and I'm going to pause, and I'm going to add more little bulbs. Now, you might be asking, why don't I just draw all those lines and then add the bulbs after? You could, absolutely, you could. But if you would like your line to be able to follow what you're doing better, be a little bit more patient and allow yourself to draw those lines so that you can respond to them. So you can go around that line better, knowing that that bump is there. If I didn't know it was there, I wouldn't know to go around it, obviously. That was kind of a stupid statement, wasn't it? It was one of my better statements of the day. Okay, there we go. So what I love about this, I'm going to start another one, a dot, and I'm going to go around again, and I'm going to do the whole thing this time so you can see the difference. And I don't have a specific way that I do this when I'm doing Diva, like that I always start it, do it the slow way, or do it where I draw it and then I add the bumps. I don't really have a way that I do it specifically. I just sort of go with the moment. I find that if I'm working in Procreate, I tend to draw the little bumps as I go, especially if I have a lower opacity, because then I want the line to be all one line. And if I break the line and go back, then it goes in darker. So it depends on what I'm using and like what tools I'm using and what mood I'm in. Sometimes I'm just not in a mood to draw one line and one line. I'm in more of a flow, and so I want it all down and then just add the gentle little undulations of rhythmic up and down, just to sort of blossom on the page as I go. But again, please remember there's no right way to do this, and there's no wrong way, and yours doesn't have to look like mine. And I embrace the wonky line. As you know, I keep telling you that. I really, really do embrace the wonky line. So a lot of you might not resonate with that. You might want a cleaner line. So make it cleaner. That's easy enough to do. Here we go. I'm going to start another one. Make my way around. It's so quiet in here without the cats. See, I don't like how not wonky my line tends to be right now by me overdrawing the lines. So I think I'm going to go back to the other version so that I can get a much wonkier line. One of the nice things about this is that you're drawing these little bulbs on here, and so you can force the line to be wonkier than maybe it was in the first place. Just ignore. This is just some Ravel on the next page. Sorry, it's kind of in the way, but I don't want to waste this paper. It's really nice paper. I'm using, what is it? Fabriano Crystal. And it's something I can actually get here in Thailand. I don't have to have it shipped in, so I like that. So I have a mark on my page from something, I don't know what, so I'm going to go ahead and make that the center of the next one. And I'm going to just go around, add in my little bulbs as I go. I think because this is the way you're actually supposed to draw it, and so it's how I always have done it for teaching, especially live classes. You know, if somebody's coming, like in-person classes, I mean, if somebody's coming for an actual Zentangle class, then I teach Zentangle. This is not Zentangle, this is Tangles. There's a difference. And so I feel like I can break the rules more. Yes, naughty me. I can break the rules more when I'm not teaching Zentangle. I feel a responsibility to the brand that if I'm going to teach a Zentangle class, that you should get what you paid for, right? Like you shouldn't just get an Aleesha version. So here you get an Aleesha version, whether you want it or not. I'm going to put one right in here. I wasn't going to, but I've decided that I want to. And really, that's all that it's about with Zentangle, right? You should just do what you want, where you want it. Slowly build your page. I find pre-planning a page doesn't work for myself. I find that I am much better off if I just allow the page to just kind of form around me. But you'll find your flow. If you want to, you will. There you go. Some nice Diva Rose. Some nice hurry. Let's go back and do some more Ravel, shall we? Because Ravel, oh my gosh, let's just put some of that in here. So I'm going to do a dot and a dot, just a really light dot, because you guys now know that they're there. Nice odd shape. And you could, of course, take these bands and you could curve them, and then it would look rounded. So that's another way that you can make this look different. I'll do that in the next one to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'll do that in this one. So you're going to curve those lines, and then you're going to draw in and color in the curve. But make sure that you've got a nice curve. So you're coming up and around. So nice backwards C, if you want to look at it that way. And so that gives it a little bit of a curved look. So then you want to think about that when you're doing your outside ruffles, for them to really accentuate the curves. or not. I'm going to do a few of these with just the, would it be the stamen, I guess? Just this piece. Let me see. What do I want to do from here? That looks like a spider or something, doesn't it? That's kind of cool. I'm going to do another leg. It's kind of cool that it's looking kind of spiderish. I used to have tarantulas as pets. I think big spiders are pretty cool. So let me add in some more spider legs. That's kind of neat. Okay, let's add some more. What do I want over here? Let me think for a second. Let me just look at this from afar. Okay, I have a tangle. I wasn't planning on teaching today. Bonus tangle. Okay, I don't remember what this is called, but I'll have the lovely Carissa put the name in for you. So we're going to start off and do a dot for the center. And then any direction that you want to be the first line, bring the first line down. And then take a line opposite, going up. So I'm going to teach you how to do organized chaos. Sorry, the table's moving every once in a while. I do apologize. I'm going to teach you how to do organized chaos. So this is my own term that I use for when I'm creating these kinds of tangles. So now we've broken this up into 4. And now we're going to come and we're going to separate the next sections in half again, turning our page, and we want to start around the same distance from the dot, because as we draw our lines, this is actually going to turn into a negative space circle. So it's going to look really cool. Trust me. So now we're going to take each section and we're going to create chaos, organized chaos within the section. So I'm going to take this section and again I'm going to look at where I'm starting and I'm going to bring a line up. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring a line into each of those sections. So now I've got 3 in that space and I'm going to turn and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to do 1 and I'm going to do 2 and 3. Rinse and repeat. Really look at where you're starting that line. If you care. If you don't care, it doesn't matter. But if you do, if you want to create that little circle space, then watch where you're starting this line. And the nice thing is it doesn't have to be perfect, because if you want to accentuate the line, you could go in with like some graphite or maybe some charcoal or something and accentuate by going around the edges. I'm going to show you this in just a second. Okay, so far, where's the chaos? There is no chaos. That's all just been organized, right? Like there's nothing chaotic about this. Now let's add the chaos. So now we're going to go in and we're going to add extra lines and go longer and shorter Some areas are going to have more lines, some are not going to have any. Just go ahead, this is your chaos. But because you've set down this framework, when you're done, it looks very organized. Hence my term, organized chaos. Yeah, it just sort of makes sense, doesn't it? Ooh, that's a weird line. Talk about chaos. There we go. Now, we could call this done, or we could keep playing. I want to keep playing because I'm just in a mood to do this. So now I'm going to put something on the end of some of these, and you can sort of choose what shape you want to make, and make it as complicated or as not complicated as you want. I don't know what the heck's going on here, but I'm just having fun with this shape. Not something I would normally put on the bottom of these. That's much more, but it just feels fun. It kind of feels like a little bit of something flying in. Anyways, that just happened. So I didn't mean that to happen. But you can put whatever you want on the end. Like you can put an arrowhead, for example, and you can color that in if you want. I'm going to go ahead. Circle on the end of this one. You don't have to put something on every single one. I hadn't really planned on doing this, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with these. I'm going to do some with lines. This is much more of when I sit down to tangle on my own, this is what happens. I never know what I'm going to do. Sometimes I have an idea of patterns that I want to draw, but most of the time I don't even specifically know what patterns I'm going to draw. I just start. And so that process for me often begins with a few Hollenbaugh, just to lay down a page, to give some structure to it, to give myself some loose boundaries to break, because I love to sort of work off the edge of the page and break all of those boundaries. And so by giving myself loose boundaries, it's easier for me to break the rules by having them gently set down. Okay, let's move over into some color adding. So today I grabbed some tools. I thought I would use my magic pencils. I love these guys. So each one has 3 different colors, 3 different colors, and it shows on the side what colors they are. So these are the ones I chose to go with this piece. I'm going to start off dark with the darkest one and then work my way in. Whew, that spun around, sorry about that. I'm going to just, don't really know exactly what color I'm going to get because this pencil, depending on how you hold it, gives you a different color. So I like the unpredictability, and I thought the unpredictability would be nice for this class too. So I have been working on this tangle, obviously, and I, for fun, thought that I would take this pattern, the page that I had originally drawn, and just take it into Photoshop and play with it a bit, and oh my gosh, it's so much fun. And so I'll have Carissa show a bit of the stuff from that. Oh, this color is really nice. This little sort of butterfly thing just sort of appeared. I like it. So I know that everybody has crazy weather right now. I was mentioning that ours is really hot. So I'm going to have to teach inside for the next while. Won't be able to withstand those heats outside. It's too much for me. And after this, we have monsoon season coming, so you just never know what you're getting. I am going to do this with red. I'm going to shade this with red because I want it to really stand out, and I'm going to show you what I was talking about accentuating the roundness. So I'm going in now, and I'm turning my page so that my lines are nice and straight as I flick out. And I allow this to change from red to black. I just love this. It's so pretty. If you don't have these, I highly recommend them. Highly recommend them. And if you have any kind of like arthritis, your hands get tired really quick when you're doing art, these are so nice to hold. They're really big. The ends are larger, and then being the triangle shape. They're really nice to hold. I don't have problems like that with my grip, but if you do, consider getting these. They are not expensive. I highly recommend the whole set. I have the whole set because my husband calls me a buffet girl. I love to have choices. So I like to have them all. I want all the colors so I can decide which ones I want to use. Okay, so you can see how that accentuates that center. Now, if I wanted the center to be really nice, I could go in and sort of zhoosh it up and make it really round. I don't want it to be really round because that's not my jam. So I'm going to leave it like this. Now I'm going to work on this sort of mid-tone color that I've chosen, and I'm going to work on hurry up here. So I've got my one line, so I know that this is the first line that I drew. And so I'm going to go around that. I'm going to leave the line that's right beside it, and I'm going to focus on gently shading in, just ever so lightly, these other layers. So I can get a nice focused look at this first line and the one that goes beside it. I'm trying to leave them both. I'm trying to pay attention to what I'm doing. Okay, that one and that one I want to leave, so I'm coming over here. There we go. And going forward. It's cool how it's like way more yellow here, and now it's going in darker. I like that. Okay, so now I'm going to change, and I'm going to go to the darker for the next one, and I'm going to leave the one beside it as well. I didn't on that side. Oh, okay, I won't on this side either. Let's make them the same. Just going to continue around and get these shaded in a little bit. I'm going to honor these little sparkles that I added in, so I'm not going to shade those areas so that they show up lighter. As I turn my pencil, I get different colors. Just trying to decide what color I'm going to put here. I think I want this one to be really dark, so I'm going to push harder with my magic colored pencil here. Again, I'm very conscious of which is my center line. And anytime I'm having a hard time figuring out where my center is, like on this last group, I had a hard time figuring out where the center is. So what I do is I go in and I shade the outside, and then I go to the other side and I shade the outside. And then I come in one more, and then I come in one more, and you end up getting left with the one in the center. So it's a nice, easy way to fix that without having to really go cross-eyed trying to figure out which one is your centerpiece, because that could be a little bit hard to find. Again, I'm going to start on the outside, work in each side until I only have one left. Over, it's too darker. All the spinning is not good for my head. Okay. Okay, happy with that. Okay, now I'm going to go in with the yellow. Just going to do the red, going to go in with the yellow. And I'm going to make a very yellow spider, apparently. So I'm just going to go in and really put some strong color in with these bands. Just really push. Now when you push with anything but your colored pencil on the page, part of what you're doing is you're damaging the page. So you're pushing down any tooth that you have. And the way that colored pencil grabs onto your page, gets onto your page, is that it grabs onto the tooth and it fills it. So as soon as you collapse that tooth by pushing too hard on your page, that's why when you go to add more colors over top, the color doesn't really go on, and that's because you filled the tooth. So if you want to do layer after layer after layer of color, make sure that you go really softly and gently in, and I highly recommend Luminance colored pencils for that. Go very gently in on each layer, and then you can put like 60, 70 layers on something instead of just one or two. It's all about just lifting your hand and making it lighter. So I think I'm going to add some red with this orange because that'll make him sort of a cool looking spider unit. Love watching the color blossom on the page. Just those layers upon layers. Oh, it's so wonderful. Usually, it takes me as long to shade a piece as it does for me to draw it. So if you're looking at what you're doing and saying, oh man, like this just takes me forever, and so I don't want to color it, that's fine. Like, don't feel that you have to. But if you're finding that it takes you a really long time to finish a piece, I know Zentangle is like 15 minutes a piece, and that's why they give you the small parts, is so that you can complete it quickly. You know, I'm working a lot bigger, and so it's going to take longer. And depending on how you work, if you're working small, you can get those things finished pretty quickly. And so it's nice. You can be waiting at a doctor's office and you can actually get the thing done before you get called in and it's your turn to see them. Or you can have like a bigger piece that you're just slowly working on. Now, some of the best art advice I ever got, and I love to pass this along, was don't be afraid of the dark. And I learned that from Sketchy during, they're now called Museum, during one of their 30-day Faces challenges. So I did quite a few of those when I was learning how to do portraits. And that was the best advice that I ever got. Don't be afraid of the dark. Allow your piece to have a dark portion because it allows the eye to move around the page. It needs that dark. It needs all the tones. So when you're looking at your page, even for creating more patterns on it, you want to look at, okay, so this is what I'm creating. Do I have enough dark patterns? Do I have enough light patterns? Do I have enough mid-tone patterns? And if I have too many light patterns, is there something I can do to kind of darken them up or to bring them in so that they're not going to be lost anymore? So on this, honestly, if I wasn't teaching a class, and don't tell anybody, but this is what I would do to this piece. If it was me and I didn't have any rules, you know, I would come in on this piece and I would have a piece of ribbon. And so I'm going to bring this ribbon out from here and here, and I'm going to sort of loosely teach this technique, kind of, sort of. Because this is really like all over, and this can be a very difficult technique for people to learn. I'm not sure why it's difficult. All I can tell you is that it is. And so because of that, I don't want to teach it quite so broken, but you can see it, and if you can figure it out, then you can do it too. Then I start at the end here for anybody who is figuring it out. And I love to put little lace doily, pom-pom, whatever the frig. They're called perfs in Zentangle, P-E-R-F-S, perfs. And I love them. So the key is I'm putting the perfs only on the second line that I drew. That first line, it's not getting any worse. The second line, it gets them all. And I call this Ribbonz with a Z. I love this tangle. I'm going to go in with this mid-tone first. And I'm just going to come in, darken the edge that holds the curves. That bit of shading. I want it to be a nice rough line. I don't want anything too perfect. Keep turning the page so that it's comfortable. You know what we have not done? We haven't stopped and taken a breath. Tools down. Give your shoulders a shake. Close your eyes. Deep breath in. And exhale. And again, a nice deep breath in and hold and exhale. Okay, let's go back. Where were we? Ah, the ribbons. Yes. To here. Got this part. Part of what I do when I hold a pencil is I'm always turning it in my hand, and that way you don't have to sharpen your pencils as often, because you're constantly making a new point by turning it. It's a little hint. But we're going to talk about that, don't be afraid of the dark, more in other classes. But always remember that you don't want to go dark right away, like all the way dark, because once you set your darkest value, then that's your darkest value. It is dark. Right? So you want to slowly build your way to those darks. But before you finish the piece, you want to make sure that your darks are dark. Take some darks really, really dark, and you'll find that your piece is better because of it. Now I'm going in and I'm refining a little bit these areas that should be like coming out from behind, and really like giving them some darkness at that point where they should have some darkness. And that means we're coming close to the end, guys, because I'm starting to put my dark in. That means something here. I'm liking this little bit of red. It's kind of like a purpley red, which I didn't expect at all. So that's kind of interesting. I seem to have dripped wax everywhere. I had a candle going. It's burnt out now. I had a candle going at the beginning, and I was just getting wax all over the table and all over the carpet. been a bit of a nightmare. Between the cats and the candle, it's been a challenge. But man, I gotta say, sitting in here with the air conditioning going, talking to you guys, doing tangles. Yeah, I could do this all day. This is my happy place. Okay, so let me look at this again. I want to bring some more light in to this top one. So I'm going to actually go in and really yellow that first line of all of them. And I'm pushing hard, so this area I won't be able to add more into. But that's okay, because I want it to be nice and bright and strong and sort of have a place on the page. I'm going to do the same down here, because I feel like it's sort of lacking a little. Oh yeah, that's already warming it up. Look at that. Whew, it just blossoms in front of me. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, I like that a lot. There we go. That's way better. Oh, I like that. And I like that I left this second line white on here, because it really pops this up even higher. Now, I do want this to really pop, so I want to go in here and I want to go in and just keep light layers, because I want this to go dark. And the best way I find to take something dark is gently. Because once that page won't take anymore, you're screwed. Well, you're not. I mean, you could put gesso over it and you could start over, or what some people do when they're not happy with a piece of art is they cut out another piece of paper and they glue it over top and they draw on the piece of paper that they cut out. I mean, do whatever you want to your art to make you happy. The power should come right back on. We have solar energy, so our solar should take over here soon. But I will keep teaching in the meantime. I know things got a lot darker, so I hope that the cameras are still making things out okay. But we're almost done anyways, so maybe that's the universe saying, okay, these people are getting bored. They don't want to watch you do this anymore. Who knows? But this guy needs a lot more shape than he's got right now. There we go. Some nice dark lines. Okay, so it looks like the solar is not coming back on. So I am going to go ahead and wrap this up today. I am really grateful that you all came and hung out with me. I hope that having the class inside is just as relaxing for you guys as me being outside with all of the nature sounds and the sounds of my fountain and all of that sort of stuff. You don't get that in here. But it was just wonderful sitting and drawing with you all. And I look forward to our next class together. But before we leave, let's all just take a breath together. One more. Nice breath in and hold it and exhale. Great. So if you draw anything from these classes, please do tag me in the drawing. It is drawingXpressions that we would love you to tag on Instagram. And of course, we have our online community. Come on in, post there. And if you post there, you'll actually get feedback from me. And if you want any support on your piece, you can ask for support and I can help with it as well. So have a wonderful day. It was great seeing you all, and thank you so much for coming and visiting me in Thailand. Bye for now. Trying to set up to teach this class with Maine Coons is not all that easy, I gotta tell you. Ragdolls are being a lot better behaved than the Maine Coons are. And yes, if you're wondering, that is a Maine Coon underneath my cloth. Hey, helper. Hi. Are you helping?